Hey guys, I am in Eugene, Oregon tonight, and I'm going to have dinner at this Vietnam restaurant. It's a pretty simple name, but it's got some delicious food I hear, and I'm having dinner with an old family friend named Frank Harper. He's a Vietnam vet, so just like my dad, they were both Navy Seabees, and we're going to discuss a documentary he's making about returning to Vietnam. My dad went back with him, and he's done some really amazing work over there, and he's filled with great stories. I'm really excited to go in and talk to him, and I hope you join us on this Foodie Stop.
How many men who listen to me tonight have served their nation in other wars? How very many are not here to listen? The war in Vietnam is not like these other wars. Yet, finally, war is always the same. It is young men dying in the fullness of their promise. It is trying to kill a man that you do not even know well enough to hate. Therefore, to know war is to know that there is still madness in this world.
Yeah, we're going to start with some appetizers.
Okay, so you just want to get appetizers start off first?
Yeah.
All right.
So let's do those, the Vietnam crepes and the spring rolls.
Just those
The
three to start with,
bonseo
okay?
is the
Bonseo.
crepe, same thing.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
So I met Frank through my dad because you guys knew each other, and you had a unique set of circumstances on how you guys met.
Yeah.
So how did you meet my dad the first time?
Well, he was at Taku. His MCB 74 came through and basically cleared the site
Right.
where we were going to build our fire support base, or a base camp.
Right.
To build, main assignment was to build the road up Taku Mountain.
Gotcha.
Build a radar site.
And that was the Buddha mountain, right?
Buddha
Had a
Mountain,
big Buddha
yeah.
statue up there?
Yeah. it's Buddha
Was the
Mountain.
Buddha statue there when you guys were there, or did that come later?
No, it was there.
Was
it was
it? Okay,
actually
cool.
built, I think, in 1961.
Oh,
But,
no kidding.
but the pagoda, the Buddhist site has been there, I think, somewhere in the 1800s.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
It's 49 meters long, and it's really impressive.
I've definitely seen the video of it,
Yeah.
but yeah, it does look really impressive how they even built it up there, too. Is honestly what's impressive about it.
But once I landed in Benoit, which was about March 28th, then once we got our gear lined up, we trucked on over to.
What year
Taku.
was that?
That was 1971.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and then so from there we were MCB 5, Mobile
Yeah.
Construction Battalion 5, was to relieve your dad, MCB 74. They all
Yeah.
move out, we come in.
Okay.
But there was naturally overlap because
Right.
they had to train us what we needed to do,
Right.
what we needed to finish as far as the site. And then I'll never forget that my first watch, which was about, it must have been at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And it had to be your dad. I knew it was your dad who came there, just a real
Yeah.
jovial guy
Right.
with this bushy blonde hair,
Right.
and we had it. I just know it.
Yeah.
It was him. With his memory, he probably remembered.
Oh man,
yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, his memory's insane.
I know that. I was so impressed with his.
Oh,
date.
it's right to the date. How
Yeah.
it smells.
Yeah.
Like he can recite everything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So you guys briefly had met there, but didn't really know each other till way later, I assume, right? Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Years later, it was what? 2014.
Probably. And that was
When-
through the reunions.
No.
Oh,
no, It
really?
wasn't through the reunions.
Okay.
Somehow or another, I'd been posting my story about finding these little kids in Vietnam
Gotcha.
that I had photographed.
Gotcha.
And then the story went when your dad was actually at our site.
Yeah.
He was on a front end loader or something, and
Right.
he was pulled off.
Right.
Right then and there. Pack, you're leaving now.
Yeah.
Don't even.
And they
lie.
didn't even tell him. Yeah, they were just like,
yeah,
come.
You're leaving. Yeah. So that was the last I ever saw of him.
Right.
At that point.
Right.
And then those years later is
Yeah.
when he somehow somebody had told him, hey, there's this guy that's been finding these kids in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he called me and said, is there a little kid named,
Right.
I gave him his name. I think he remembered his name.
Yeah, he did.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had a pack
Yeah.
of cigarettes in the
Right.
back of his pocket that he saved.
Yeah.
And,
So what Frank's
yeah.
talking about is Frank's been going back to Vietnam. Would you say 12 times now since the war?
12 times.
12 times, and he's been tracking down a lot of the neighborhood kids that were around the soldiers during the war. He would track them. They would come around the soldiers, and they were kind of the mascot, as they would call them. You would have a certain kid that would just hang out with you, basically. And my dad had one, but my dad's best friend Butch was killed in the war. And his family requested him to be brought back home, or to escort the body home. And they pulled him out the day, unexpectedly, completely unexpected. And he was able to bring Butch's body home, but he finished his tour back stateside. So he had a pack of cigarettes he was going to give his mascot that day. And Frank, by happenstance, ended up finding him as a grown adult now. And as part of Frank's documentary, they went back to Vietnam, and my dad was able to give that pack of cigarettes to his now grown mascot.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
Dad wasn't planning on going back. He had
Okay.
sent me the pack of cigarettes.
That's right.
And I went back and I
Yeah.
gave Hoon, this little kid that was in the
That's right.
picture with your dad, the pack of cigarettes. And, wow.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
all those years later, but it was a challenge. It took me
Yeah.
a good 7 years to find 11 kids that I had photographed. Three of them, your dad and I, there were 9 boys.
Yeah.
No, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah. 8 boys, and then way down south, I was eventually sent to Kamal, and there were 3 girls that were that used to do laundry in our camp.
Sure.
And I found them also. So
That's amazing.
yeah, it's pretty neat. And they were just, I had the pictures that your dad had sent me.
Yeah.
I had pictures of what I took of them, and to give them because they
Right.
had no pictures of
No.
themselves as
Oh,
kids.
yeah, they probably had
Yeah. So
seen a camera when you guys brought it.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so what gave you the idea to start shooting a documentary film about that? Was it just one of those trips, like bring some soldiers back and just film it, or had you been planning on doing a documentary for a while?
Yeah, I really wanted to do it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know, just that element of surprise finding them. But
I would imagine.
that was my plan, but I just didn't come about.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you guys went and shot for how many weeks did you go back in 2015, right?
Yeah, we
Because I know my dad went with you guys, and then you guys were 2015. How many weeks total were you guys over there shooting the film?
we were there. I think Dan, Ken, and I. We had an interpreter. What's his name? My film Oscar.
Oh,
Oscar.
yes. Your DP, as we would say.
Yeah, he was there, and so we were about, I think, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks together, maybe not quite that long.
Okay.
And then we separated.
Right.
And Oscar and I ended up in Australia, where originally I had done my, what do I call it, rest and recuperation, R&R.
I see. I got you.
And we went there to film.
Because that's where you would go after you were pulled out of Vietnam.
No,
is that
no.
right?
When you're in Vietnam for 6 months,
Yeah.
you could go for R&R.
Gotcha.
They could send you to Thailand or in country, and I didn't want to go back to Hawaii. You know,
Right.
I don't think I'd ever jump back on that plane, but
Right.
I went to Australia. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, how long were you in Vietnam total, like when you were
Yeah, I was there about 8 months.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
And your dad spent a little more time there.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
I think he did two tours.
I don't know if he did 2, but I know it was, I want to say it was about a year, but I could be wrong. He would
Well,
obviously
maybe
know the
you're
exact
right. Yeah,
dates.
because he never did go back.
Right, he finished his tour stateside, or what if it was a secondary, he finished it stateside. Wow. So in Australia, you guys were looking at just things that people that you had met there when you were in
Yeah, I
R&R?
did. Yeah, at that time, Dan and
Right, they had already head on back.
yeah,
right.
they were on their way back.
I
They
gotcha.
were, and they spent I don't know how many days in Saigon,
Sure.
where they met up with John Wolfram.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right, because you guys had pushed on before that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really neat. So what is, like, when you said you guys came in after my dad's MCB 74, what was your guys' objective? Because obviously theirs was to build that base, right? Am I right about that?
They cleared the base,
Right.
and it was just this beautiful little valley, nestled between Buddha Mountain, and then there was a little mountain kind of behind us, with the statue of the Virgin Mary.
Oh, wow.
And
What a weird place to be, where these two symbols of peace,
Yeah.
and you've got this military base in between them.
and some very unhappy local villagers.
I would imagine.
Because cleared out a huge spot.
Yeah.
Where the
I
rice
would
paddy, where their
imagine.
food was,
Yeah.
and, their source of income.
Wow.
And
Just
then-
came in and took it, too.
Yeah, and part of my reason for coming back was that after your dad left in MCB 74, we had to finish the Constantino wire, setting up all the Claymore mines, all that stuff, the huts, and but one day, and then from there, I was working on the mountain, and down below we had swept the road, and we were up in the mountain looking down.
Right.
Oh, thank you. And this farmer is herding some cattle across there, across this road where we had passed.
Yeah.
And it,
The roadside bomb?
a landmine hit his cow, and I always thought, man, if this ever clears up, I'm going back there to buy that farmer a cow.
Wow.
So that was the number one motivation.
Yeah.
And
Just
the
wanting
only
to
way
help
to do
the
that,
people there.
yeah, and the only way is to find the kids.
Right. Yeah.
In order to pay the farmer back with the cow.
Wow.
So,
And that's kind of what started
eventually-
you down that road of wanting to do that. That's
and
amazing.
and trying to find out what life was like after 1975.
I would imagine.
And we bailed out just
now.
Yeah,
Yep. Which is going to be a whole other generation of the same kind of thing.
The kids that I found were
Yeah.
relatively doing pretty well because they lived out in the country.
Okay.
But they did say that they nearly starved to death
No kidding. Wow.
when the North came through
When
and
it
took
collapsed.
over.
Right.
That they had to allowed to eat maybe a bowl of rice a day.
No kidding. Wow. That's sad. That is delicious. So what is inside of that?
I think bean sprouts. Is there shrimp in it?
Might be shrimp in there. I said egg-based, but it doesn't seem like it's egg-based. Seems like it's something else.
We could ask her. Excuse me. Is bonseo? It's egg and bean sprout and.
It's not the egg, it's like a flour.
Oh, it is.
okay.
Oh, okay.
And shrimp and the bean sprout inside.
Oh, wow.
okay,
That's
I see.
tasty. So when you got out of the service, didn't you say, you told me once that you had done a biking trip across the U.S., right? Where you had driven from coast to coast on your bike?
Yes, 1977. I rode from Santa Cruz, California to New York City, and that was a great trip. It took about 44 days, and
imagine.
the one thing that was priceless was Route 66 was
Yeah.
still. I mean, it was right on the edge of because
They
Highway
hadn't
40
finished
was
40
built.
yet?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Or
Yeah,
had
I
they?
don't think
Or
they
just
quite
hadn't
finished
taken
it.
out? I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Leading up
makes
to
sense.
Flagstaff.
Right.
That's so those quaint old motels, and
Oh, yeah.
oh man, they're all gone now.
They're all
most
gone
of them.
now.
So you've traveled routes. You must have, yeah.
Absolutely.
In fact, you were just on Route 66, weren't you?
Almost, yeah. Yeah, I've done it a few times.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. I want to do one where I only, because a lot of times I'll go on it for a while, jump on 40 or whatever. I haven't done the full from Chicago all the way down to LA
Yeah.
or Santa Monica. One of these days I'm going to do the full Route 66 route.
Yeah.
So you've always had kind of a mission to help kids, because that's what a lot of you going over to Vietnam was about. A lot about that too. tracking
Yeah,
kids
help
down
out
and-
orphanages.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, find kids that.
That's pretty
A couple
cool.
of kids that had suffering from Agent Orange.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
still
always,
a huge problem.
I would imagine. I mean,
Yeah, that was.
heck, we even got a lot of our soldiers with that. I can only imagine the natives got it bad.
Yeah, really bad. That was how that decision came about is beyond me.
It's them trying to, as they say, what is the say where you're trying to get rid of something with something way worse? And it was not thought through. It was a terrible, terrible plan. That's bad.
Yeah.
So you been in Eugene now, what, 5 years?
Since 2016. Yeah, my
Okay,
dad.
so, yeah.
Yeah, my dad passed away in 2016.
Right.
15?
Because I think that was the year I met you. Then you were still down in San Jose, if I remember correctly.
We met here.
I remember we had dinner in San Francisco, or at San Jose one night. It was after I worked a show, I think it was 2016, and we met at the downtown hotel restaurant. That was the first time we met.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, I think
forgot.
you were still living there, because I don't think you had even
Yeah,
mentioned Eugene
yeah.
by then.
Yeah,
I think I want to say it was like the next year that you moved, or within a few months after.
And then we met at the
Yeah,
restaurant
we met.
for breakfast.
That's right. Yep.
And you were in a hurry.
I was like, because I was on my way home after that.
You were after your passport for sure.
Oh yeah, that was when I had gotten robbed. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Man.
what a nightmare that was.
Jeez,
I had to go all the way to San Francisco, get an overnight passport, and then head up to Montana and then Canada.
Ugh.
I did not want to repeat that. That was no fun.
Oh, 2 more beers, please.
Here's the secret stuff.
Yes, it was great. Thank you.
You want to try some of this? I haven't touched this part.
Oh, I'll talk a little about that. You're welcome to try some of this too.
Yeah, help yourself.
Let's get some of these
Oh, no,
noodles.
I've had the soup before.
Oh yeah. Oop.
Do you ever have chow fun before?
I don't think so. I've had tad pie with pate.
Pad thai.
Yeah.
Pad thai.
Which it reminds me of the white noodles.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever tasted Asian food and been like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
I don't think they make gross food. Although
always
you look
good.
at some food of it and it looks like it would be gross, but it
Yeah.
still tastes amazing. So when was the last time you were back in Vietnam?
2018 with my son.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How was that trip?
Oh, it was really good.
Yeah. What'd you guys end up doing? Did you go to the orphanage and whatnot?
Went to the orphanage. Yeah, I have it on my Facebook
Yeah.
page. Woody's sing. He writes and sings children's songs.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
He's my older son. My younger
Okay.
son lives here,
Gotcha.
and Woody's married, no kids, a couple of little dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And but he runs a preschool. His wife
Oh, no problem.
owns a beauty salon kind of thing.
That's cool. Are they down in the Bay Area?
Yeah, in San Francisco.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so they've got a great video on there of him singing to the kids
that's
in
neat.
the orphanage.
Yeah. I was in D.C. just a couple weeks ago, and as I do every time I go to D.C., I go to the wall because it's such a powerful place to walk through.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's probably because I remember going when I was a kid and watching my dad do the rubbing of
Yeah.
Butch's name. And
Yeah.
so it's always had that significance
Sure.
for our family. And so maybe that's why it's still such a somber place. But I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone walk through it and even really talk out loud. Most of the time, people just
Yeah.
whisper because they feel it.
Yeah.
It's a really amazing memorial.
Yeah. I'm kind of more so leaning towards a book
Yeah.
of different
Oh.
things that I've done in my life. And
I think
and
that's a
your,
great
your
idea.
dad's such a great writer.
Oh man, he is.
He is a good
He
writer.
is. Well, and you've done some really cool things. That's a great idea. That's a really great idea.
You know, often I've thought, because our main issue that your dad didn't know about was
Mm-hmm.
the mines. You know, we got hit probably 8 times with mines. I was just lucky. I was just
Right.
lucky that I'm here. And I
Yeah.
often I tell veterans, well, maybe we're just a film, you know, and we're just everything's predetermined. It's already been, the
right.
film's been taken. And
Yeah.
it kind of, my older son was a fantastic baseball player.
Yeah.
And he got a rotten coach when he was out of high school and said,
Yeah.
I quit.
And that's all it
And-
takes.
Well, he was in high school. Then he went into theater and he loved it.
Yeah.
So at that
That's
point,
awesome.
I got really involved in theater with building sets.
Sure.
And even my younger son, we did community theater.
Yeah.
And so it was on October 2nd, 1999, we were doing Oliver.
Yeah.
And so, for some strange reason, they had a cast party in the middle of the run. We never did that.
Really?
Never
That's
did.
interesting.
Yeah.
Usually it's a rap party.
Yeah,
at the
rap
end.
party.
Right,
yeah, at the end. And it was in Morgan Hill, which is just south of San Jose, country area,
Yeah.
cornfields. And so we were at this house, and it was, at that time, I had a box of tomatoes in the back of my van.
Yeah.
And it was midnight, and I said, oh, come on, we got to get out of here. It's
Right.
late, I'm tired. And I turned around and looked at the box of tomatoes. Oh, geez, I was supposed to give these to the girls
Right.
inside. Run back in, finally got the kids corralled in there. We take off, and I decided, well, let's turn down Monterey. No, I don't want to turn down Monterey Road. Go a little bit farther, and I see a flash of light, just a flash of light. I mean, probably maybe 40 yards in a
Yeah.
cornfield.
Okay.
I could see a car, and it was a dome light. And I see somebody come out of the car on their back, land on their back. And I thought,
Really?
maybe somebody got killed.
Right.
Or, something's going
Something
on.
bad.
So I whip the van around,
Yeah.
and I drive into this field. And
Right.
Clinton Woodard going, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. And this girl is just booking it towards me, trying to get her clothes back on. And
No
so, yeah,
kidding.
she had been kidnapped and raped by 3 guys.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, and this is at about 1:15 in the morning, pitch black, dark, and all I do is see the headlights.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So I got her in the van.
Oh.
Woody jumps in the back. She's in the front. And I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I have to take her to the
Are you
hospital
all
right now?
Right.
What happened? She had gone to a bus stop. Bus was too late. she wanted to go see some boyfriend at 15 years old in Gilroy, which is further south. These three guys pick her up.
No kidding.
So at that point, they start to book out of there, and I said to her, if you don't have to go to the hospital right now, let's chase the guys and get the license plate number.
Yeah,
it's just like a movie.
right.
So I'm they're in on their tail, but it's kind of foggy and come to a 4-way stop.
Yeah.
Why in the world they stopped, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they stopped long enough. I didn't have a pen or, of course, cell phone at that time. And Woody has a photographic memory like your dad. And I'm rattling off the license plate. You got it, I got it.
Right.
And then they just book out. And so we go back to where the house was, call the police and all that stuff. And it took about 3 days to catch all three of them.
And they caught them.
So I had to testify.
Wow.
And they got 75 years to life.
Good.
They probably would have killed her.
Good.
I'm guaranteed.
So they had basically pulled into that field, and they were doing that, and then she got away.
She was brave enough to reach, but she said she reached behind her, grabbed it was a older type car with a bench seat.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Opened the door because the next guy was coming after her, and she slipped back behind her.
And just ran.
And ran, yeah. So I just wonder,
Have you seen her in the last 20 years? Do you know what happened with her?
I used to see her during the trial. We did meet, but I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her in
I hope
years.
she was able to find some peace, and
I hope so.
because I can't imagine the trauma of that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, be in the right place at the right time.
You talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'd just run her down. They wouldn't let her
and
live.
if it wasn't for the dome light, and if
they wouldn't have let her live.
Yeah, and
Not in a million years.
if she had stepped out normally, I would not have turned around because she landed on her back, and I go, whoa. Remember?
That's crazy.
Wow. So that's pretty lucky. Yeah, that was lucky.
I was lucky for her, for sure.
And my kids. There was a lady at work, I had heard that her daughter had leukemia and was up at Stanford Hospital.
Okay.
So I hunted her down and introduced myself and said, here you have a daughter who's in the hospital.
Yeah.
I said, can my kids go visit her?
Sure.
So one Saturday, we go up to Stanford, and Chris and her husband Doug were there, and they were just white, just like the blood was draining out of her. Her hair had fallen out, and poor little girl sitting up there. But Clint and Woody, boom, they're jumping on her bed, playing games with her. She cheers up, they cheer up.
Oh, sure.
I thought, man,
That's powerful.
My kids are a cheerleader for her.
Right, right.
So during that period where I spoke to so many kids, I took a tape recorder in, and I said, you're going to do something. You're going to inspire this little girl to get well. Well, how do we do that?
Right.
You're going to cheer for Shauna beat leukemia, and I want you to say it as loud as you can. So I would tape these over and over, all different schools, different classrooms, and send them to her.
And they're all the kids saying it.
Yeah, all the kids saying it. And so she said, Mr. Harper, I'm going to become a pediatrician. I said, I bet you are. So on that bike trip, I sent her a postcard every day.
Wow.
She is now in a residency in LA.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So she beat leukemia and grew up, went to medical school.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
it's neat to have that kind of have stories like that, of that kind of influence. That's a legacy. It's something that you get to be a part of, helping someone else along, even if it's a little way. You never know how big it was to them.
Yeah, and my kids remember it.
Oh, sure, I would really imagine.
Well. Yeah. The bike trip.
How inspiring.
Hey, we're going on vacation. No way.
You're not tricking us again. Well, you gonna bike across the U.S. again? Thanks a lot. Yeah, you need to do a book. Yeah. I mean, you probably have 20 more stories that are probably just as riveting. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I got quite a few that, the 12 times back to Vietnam.
Oh, man.
And this little town in Parks, Australia, where I went for R&R.
Right.
Which is now the largest Elvis festival in Australia. And Elvis never went to Australia.
So Australians like Elvis?
Oh, they
wouldn't even
love
thought about
dress
it.
up as Elvis.
Of course they do. That's
They do it in
great.
January.
Really?
And it's hot. It's just hot.
All right, because it'd be summer down there.
It's a little two-street town,
Yeah.
and 10,000 people come into Australia and
Elvis
have an
fans.
excuse to drink beer. And they have cars, vintage cars, and
That's
parades
great.
dressed as Elvis. And,
Really?
but it's known for the.
I'll be looking up videos of that later. That's how. I'll bet there's a ton of great videos.
Oh,
of that.
there's some really. Yeah,
Oh,
look
yeah.
up Elvis Festival.
That
Parks,
sounds
Australia.
awesome. Wow.
He and that is known for the largest radio telescope in the southern hemisphere.
Okay, so that's where that I knew it was in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in Parks.
Very cool. In Parks.
But
wow.
it's
So it's got
way
a lot of nerds there. Science
Yeah.
nerds. Right.
But in order to get there, you have to fly, so it's way out in the country.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Unless you take a train.
Gotcha. Sure.
But when I went for R&R, that's
Yeah.
where I went.
Wow.
And just met the nicest people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just
I bet Aussies are just genuinely
They-
nice.
they are.
Or
But
or they're mean. It
tougher-
depends on who you talk to.
or how much beer they've had to drink.
Right. Yeah, really.
But I found it, especially when back in 2015, it's not as easy to meet people
Yeah, I would imagine.
because of these.
I know.
You're buried in your cell phone.
Well,
Hello.
it's changed everything.
Yeah.
We interact more with our technology than we do with each other.
Oh, you see little kids and
and then you look at the division. And that's why.
little babies, just.
That's why people are so divisive. We don't ever talk to each other anymore or debate with each other. We just say you have to think like I do or you're wrong, and we don't like that. And I think that's just a sad state of affairs. And I think technology has a huge deal to do with that.
I'm sure
There's
you're
one thing
absolutely
our
right.
phones don't have is personalities that are human, and they don't understand what we're doing. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. You can't talk. You can't have a conversation. We can text each other, but it's hey, when are you gonna get there? Then we'll talk.
Yeah.
It's true, and it's. I don't know. No, I'm happy you did. That's the whole point.
There gotta be people. You are a hero, and you deserve to be like a hero.
Yeah.
People need to be real each other.
Oh, thank you. Well, just be at the right place at the right
And
time.
being willing
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody does that anymore.
No, that's true. It's true. And I wouldn't have enjoyed that story as much if it was through text.
Oh yeah. That's true.
I like that it was face to face. And there you go. No, that's the whole point. It's just we've lost that connection. It bums me out.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
We obviously can't leave without reading it. Sometimes they're scary.
Ignorance never settles a question. Why?
You would do well to expand your boundaries. There you go. And that's true. Well, Frank, this was delicious.
Oh, good.
I'm really glad we got to do this. This was
Yeah,
fun.
me too. Yeah. Okay, well, I
But
guess
again,
you-
we get to start with baby steps. We get to start
Yeah.
with this meal, talking, and then we get to talk to someone else, and then we'll just do it that way. We'll just change the world that way, Frank. It's
There you
easy.
go.
I don't know what you're worried about.
Sounds like a plan.